Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. Whenever you watch our channel, we're talking about a bit of everything, especially video game adaptations. This one I'm ashamed to talk about a little bit, and that is the latest movie from David F. Sandberg, who's kind of a horror icon, and we are talking about the latest game to get adapted, which is Until Dawn. Let's just get this going. This is a spoiler-free review, so if you do happen to like the video, or if you like the movie amazingly, feel free to give us that thumbs up. Or if you just like looking at me and Burn, my fresh stew, Burn's awesome beard and stash, just great stuff. And then also don't forget to ring the bell for notifications and, of course, subscribe. We appreciate you all. And if you haven't seen it already, go see Sinners. But let's get started on this one. So Until Dawn is... It's based off of a video game. I'm pretty sure it was open to all consoles or maybe just a PlayStation exclusive. Don't really remember. I don't play a lot of horror games. I'd rather watch the movies and the shows than that. And since I haven't really played the game, I can't really speak to that. But what this movie is about is a girl and her group of friends, played by Ella Rubin, Odessa Zion, yada, yada, yada. They are trying to search the whereabouts of the main character, Ella Rubin's missing sister, and they come onto this cabin, or like a tour house, or like a introduction house to a town, and that's when a giant sundial clock gets spun around, and it's basically Groundhog Day for slashers, essentially. That's the best way I could put it without spoiling it too much. And it also has Peter Stormare, who's one of the best character actors of our generation, any generation previously. But he couldn't even save this movie, man. The guy from Bad Boys 2, Constantine, John Wick Chapter 2. He just couldn't have... He didn't have the pizzazz to save this movie. But before I keep bashing it and depressing myself, Burn, what did you think about this one?
I can't help with relieving any of the bashing and the
But
depression.
Bernie, you're always the cheery one of us. You give the highest ratings to some of the worst movies.
If only that were true.
You always look for the silver lining, Bern. It's like, definitely not.
just a total glass half full kind of guy,
It's like that scene in Finding Nemo. Just, oh my god, it's half empty. It looks half full. No, it's empty. I'm pretty sure it's half full. But keep going, Bert. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, I cannot give any more praise than you've given. So I also haven't played the game. I'm vaguely familiar with it just because it was a pretty big game for a lot of reasons. The main one being it was basically like an interactive movie, and it had a few notable actors in it, like Hayden Panettiere, Rami Malek, to name a few, and of course Peter Stormare. So it was kind of one of those, like, the first few of those types of games to like hit consoles. I think this was in fact a PlayStation exclusive. So I didn't play this one. I played another game from the same developer, The Quarry. So I'm a little bit familiar with how these games sort of play out, and a little bit familiar with the story of Until Dawn in terms of, it was kind of a big game. It was hard to ignore at the time, but I myself didn't play because I don't think I had a PlayStation at the time. But this is one of those things that is just frustrating. It must be even more frustrating for the fans of the game, that it seems like now that we've gotten all these other video game adaptations, something like this really shouldn't happen, where it's really just an adaptation in name only. And, as someone who comes into these adaptations looking for and appreciating the things that they do differently, namely with a lot of, like, just recently and ongoing right now with The Last of Us. I'm coming into it, as a fan of the game, looking for things that are different and things that they add onto it to sort of flesh out the stories, because the difference in mediums lends itself to that. And with the Until Dawn movie, it seems like they went with the old route of movie adaptations of video games, where it's like I said, it's only an adaptation in name only. Like, we don't carry over any real big elements from the game. We don't carry over like any of the characters. This isn't like almost like an entirely new thing. And the concept itself, this being, like you mentioned, a Groundhog Day of horror, it's a cool concept on its own, but it's really nothing nothing compared to the game at all. So it is an odd choice that they decided to do it that way. But on its own, it does have some elements of fun, I guess, where some of the practical effects are cool. Some of the deaths are fun. Some of the scares work, I guess, but overall, it does fall into the tropiness of horror movies. And the movie itself tries to pay homage to a lot of different horror genres, and I thought that was kind of cool. But then it also just falls into those tropes where we've seen that, we've done it before. It doesn't really do much to separate itself outside of that, and I don't think the characters themselves help that at all. I mean, no discredit to the actors. I think they're trying to do the best they can with the material that they're given, but they are written pretty one note. So not even the characters can sort of save this sort of run of the mill story with an interesting concept. It was a frustrating watch because despite it not being close to what the game story was on its own, it could have worked if they really sort of nailed those aspects of it. But yeah, in terms of the execution, it just left me wanting, and that was pretty frustrating because and when we're getting a movie of constant jump scares, which it seems like David S. Sandberg really likes, and I absolutely hate, I'm being terrorized for like an hour and a half, but there's not enough for me to latch onto to want to get through this journey, and the characters don't do it, the story itself doesn't do it. So yeah, it was just it was a frustrating watch.
Yeah, because it's one of those things with video game adaptations. As much progress that I feel like they've made in the last few years, like you said, with stuff like Last of Us, Sonic movies, Devil May Cry that we just reviewed recently. There's been some solid stuff where they kind of expand on the characters, they add a little bit more to it. But this one, yeah, like it felt like a bad 2000s version of like a video game adaptation, much like the Resident Evil movies. But I will say I would rather watch this than the Resident Evil movies and some other of the worst adaptations we've had. It's not awful, but for the sake of it being a video game adaptation, and yeah, I think you nailed it. It's so cliched and tropey. Like we have the victim of the main girl who's brokenhearted and trying to make things right. We have the one hippie who's very very spiritual, and then we have the lover boy that's all brokenhearted too. Like, it's just all these horror tropes and cliches we have seen time and time again, and it doesn't do anything with them. If anything, it's just like, dude, why are we moving back horror like 20 years? Like, there's not a lot of great horror for like in the 2000s. So, I was very frustrated by it. The actors, I will agree, they weren't awful, but they were so one note and like nothing exciting. It's like, this definitely doesn't help any of their portfolios or their careers. So I'm going to give this movie a hard 2 out of 5. Definitely don't really recommend it. Like, I had a friend who's like, oh, I'm going to go see it. I think it's going to be a dumb horror movie. And I'm just like, you're better off seeing Sinners, okay? Like, let's not even try and have fun with this. But that's fine. To each their own. If they enjoyed it, great. I don't know. And for those of you who do like it, awesome to you. More power to you. I can't stand this one. So definitely don't recommend it. If you really want something to go watch it, I guess $5 Tuesday or something. But other than that, it's garbage. So no, I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I guess you could enjoy it if you're just looking for some fun, gory kills. Again, some of the set pieces are fun, some of the kills are fun and funny, and they don't shy away from the gore aspect of it. So if you're just looking for some sort of entertainment in that sense, you could do worse, I guess. But yeah, in terms of the adaptation side of it, in terms of the horror side of it just ending up being a mediocre horror movie is disappointing in almost every sense. Again, a sense for the fans and a sense for people who enjoy and like horror movies. It's like you've seen this, you've been there, you've done that, and this movie doesn't really offer anything else in terms of elevating the genres that it chooses to homage. So yeah, it is an unfortunate misfire from David S. Sandberg, who had a pretty strong start in terms of horror. Even if his earlier movies also did rely on the jump scare aspect of it, there was more things around that kept me enjoying those movies. Then this one was kind of the first one that didn't work for me completely. It's hard to count Shazam 2 with all of the turmoil going on with WB and stuff. It's hard to fault him completely for that. But this one, it just feels like, yeah, it's an unfortunate misfire from him. But we'll see if he's able to recover. But yeah, this movie, it wasn't it for me. So it's a 2 out of 5 for me as well.
It's nice when we agree, Bernie, because it's almost like a shooting star. It rarely ever happens. Not really, but sometimes it's nice. Anyways, yeah. So for those of you who did happen to waste your time watching this movie and not go see Sinners, please let us know what you thought about it in the comments. Love to keep getting everybody's opinions on there. Yeah, like I said, we got a lot more content coming out for y'all. So until next time, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch you all on the next one.